Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's March 20th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And quick look at our daily chart. It looked like we were going to go higher again today, and they beat this thing back down. We didn't close on the lows. We didn't close on the highs. We just kind of had an up day and then a down day, and kind of closed. Actually, we closed slightly down. I would just call this kind of a mixed trading day in the end. It doesn't really look like that on the chart. It looks like a big rally and then a big sell-off. We just didn't quite take it all back today. We probably trended down from mid-morning, 9:30, 10. I can't remember exactly down, and then we were till about 1 o'clock, and then we rallied. Nothing strongly, but we came off the lows the rest of the day. Kind of sideways to slightly up is the way I would describe it. We'll see it here in just a minute, but just kind of looks like we're moving sideways here. And again, this is the first break of this channel coming down, so you would expect that we may get a retest of these lows. And so we could turn back down here, maybe make a higher low and then make another leg up, or we could just turn down, or we could. I really thought we might get a measured move, and we might still yet get that. So um, we'll just have to see. I would think that prices could at least muster up the strength to get back to the midline, but so far that hasn't happened. So we'll just have to see what tomorrow brings. We're definitely working sideways here. And this does look a little congested now because we got this no-bodied bar for the most part. So let's just flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. That's the one that matters. That's the one we trade. And we'll see what it looks like today, and we'll go through the trades. Not a ton of trades today, but there's a few out there. But let's take a look at it. Let's flip over, and here it is at a high level. You can see we had the big sell-off early during the overnight. Pretty much the whole overnight was a sell-off, and we had some news that came out. The unemployment at 7:30. We also had some housing sales and things like that come out, and but anyway, we rallied after that. We had this big spike in channel up. It looked like we were going to have a really bullish day, and then we got a little close outside here, a couple of legs to a new high, and this thing reversed and just sold off the rest of the day. Well, it sold off into about 1:30, and then we bounced, and it was just kind of up to sideways after that. So we did close off the lows. We didn't quite trend all the way back to the lows either. We got close, but yeah, it was a big uptrend and a big downtrend. It's really all you can say about it. So, but let's zoom in here. We'll zoom in, take a look at each trade, and kind of work through this day. But there's the trend coming down, and we tried multiple times to make a new low and couldn't. I didn't draw this trend channel. You don't really need it, but we'll just put it on here. Probably looks something like that. Looks like we had an overshoot here a little bit, so maybe too much buying came in after that. I don't know, but we even came back and tested it one more time. You'll see that occasionally. It'll look like we're going to rocket out of there, and then prices will come back one more time and still can't make a new low, and then boom, off they go. Now the buyers really come in, and people say, okay, this thing can't go lower. We're going higher today. And that's kind of what happened. And 7 o'clock came. I want to say somewhere right in here. Yeah, right on that bar right there. Um, there's just the first entry right there. It's right into the news at 7:30, so you ought to be flat anyway. And it didn't really affect much other than we sold off a little bit and came back down and retested this. But you can see the channel working down, close outside, new low, and when it made that next test and broke lower and failed and turned up and left that bar, that's rejection. If it breaks above that, we're probably going higher. Go with it. And if you can get that one trade with a runner, that's probably all you need today. I mean, if you just get the spike up to where you went sideways, that's almost 13 points. So pretty nice move up there. And then we just kind of work sideways. I don't see anything there. There's a possibility on a short right here, but at that point I had this drawn a little higher, And there's just not a lot of room here. There may still be enough. I mean, there's exactly 5 ticks. I mean, it's a possibility. Maybe you go short there. But you would have adjusted it once you got these lower closes. I believe that's it right there now. And I don't see anything else in there. We might take that one. Then we rock it out of there, pull back, and get a high or low. Now I marked this one green, and the reason I marked this is because you got a new low here, and you try to go short once, twice, and it does confirm a trend line. So you could treat that like a continuation pattern on a failed second entry short. And notice how that breaks lower. That's a mostly bearish bar. It breaks lower and fails and turns up. You could actually trade that on the engulfing bar. If you wait till here, you still got room to get out. Again, it's just a first entry, but maybe you trade that as a trap. I'm not crazy about it, but it's there. Then you run to a new high, and then you pull back. First entry, pull back, and you get a second entry long. Now this went lower first and failed and turned up. You can't trade that on the engulfing bar, but when it closes, I think that closes close enough to qualify. Break above that, go long with it. It takes off again. You get just a first entry there, first entry, so no setups here, and you run it up. Now you're kind of just chopping sideways. Again, that's a first entry. That signal bar doesn't qualify. And then you get a failed break lower that fails and turns back in. There's plenty of room to get out there, and that failed break lower is probably going to push it higher. And so I like entering right there. And you're only trying to get a scalp. If you get more, if it takes off, maybe you get more. And then you get a first entry, and this doesn't make a lower low, but it makes a lower high. So when it breaks above that, it's still a second entry long. But that just looks too sideways and congested, and you don't get enough test here on the breakout. But it does run 2 legs up, and then it's correcting. Close outside, move to a new low, and it bounces. No setup there to go long either. You do get a close outside, so I don't think you can treat this like a continuation pattern. It's just you get a close outside, 2 legs to a new high, and you get one more push up, and it turns down. I don't see anything up here that would make me want to try to pick a top on this. In fact, you get what looks like a lower high here, and it breaks lower and fails and turns back up and stops you out, and then goes exactly where you think it's going to go. So that's what happens when you enter in congestion like that and try to pick tops. And you know, if it's a lot of resistance across there and you get a failed breakout or a new top high, then maybe, or if it's sideways. But when you got a trend that strong, I mean, look how strong. Don't try to pick a top on that. Wait till you get something going in the other direction that's confirmed. You'll just be better off, I'm telling you. But this does run down here, close outside, new low. You get a higher low here, but I think that bar is too big, and it doesn't break above it anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then you push to a new high, and you actually get 2 legs up. You get a leg up, oops, pull back, and a second leg up. So you got the break and 2 legs ups. So this is really a double bottom, so it's first entry, second entry. So you got a second entry short, and you can argue there's a triple test there. You got a bearish bar there. Just go short right there. And off it goes. You probably get a runner here. There is another first entry, second entry, but that signal bar is too bullish. Then we're working up again, close outside, move to a new high, right it turns down right there, draw your trend line, and then you get a confirmation of your trend line with a lower high and a nice signal bar. I like going short right there. Off it goes. You get a close outside and a new low, but don't try to go long here. And then you get a first entry, second entry, right at the trend line again. You got to close outside a new high on your trend channel, your little micro trend channel as well. Very bearish bar. Just go short right there. That's what you're looking for. And that's a nice strong move down. You probably get a runner. Close outside new low. Then it's working up. Break, and it can't even make a new high there. It just starts chopping lower. I don't see anything you want to trade there. There's a hidden second entry there right off the midline. But I don't know if the signal bar is good enough. Maybe that closes in the lower 2/3 or lower third. But you know, it's a hidden second entry. It's not a true second entry. It's a possibility. We'll just leave it at that. There's plenty of room to scalp out there. So runs on down, bounces off the lows, two legs back up, no setup. And then it kind of looks like we're going into a range here. We get a little failed breakout on this side, one on this side. You do have a break and a new low here. I think you got to wait on a higher low with that being an inside bar. And it runs all the way back to the other side. There's a trend channel there. I didn't draw it, but doesn't really matter. You do get a close outside and you high all in one bar, but you don't have any room to scalp out there. Yeah, maybe it comes back down to here, but you don't know that. And it bounces here again, back up to the EMA, and then it pulls back again. So now you got a triple test down here and a nice signal bar. It's got a little bit of stem there, but if it can push on up through that EMA and break above that, go with it. I think that closes in the upper 1/3. And you get a break outside, new high, and it reverses. I don't see anything to trade up there. There's not room back to here on this bar, so you can't trade that. When it breaks out, runs to a new low, bounces. Don't try picking a bottom here. Notice the close outside, two legs up to a new high. I like going short there because of the break and two legs and as bearish as that bar. And this is, look how bullish this is, and it breaks higher and fails instantly and turns down that far away from the EMA. I like going short on the engulfing bar on that one. Most of you should leave that alone. If you're not very experienced in really making money already, don't trade engulfing bars. Just skip them. You'll be better off and glad you did, because you're going to lose a bunch if you try to trade them and you don't really understand. You need a lot of experience to trade those. That's just the way I'll leave it. So big move down, close outside, move up. It's just a first entry though. You get a second entry here, but just congestion. And these are all first entries all the way down. And where does it do? It bounces here. Now you do get a higher low, but you got a break of this down channel and no new low yet. And it looks like there's a trend line working up through there. And we are way away from the EMA. But when you go to trying to pick these bottoms, we have no break of the main channel yet. So I think it's just way too early. Now if this trend line keeps working, like when it comes back, notice it runs up here. Notice you got a new low and you run all the way up and pull back first entry, and then you run all the way back up. And then you get a second entry when it breaks below that green bar. But these are equal highs, so you could use the one next to it and go short there. And you get a quick, easy scalp, but nothing more on that one. And then you bounce at that trend line. That confirms it. And then you get another retest of it with a higher low and a nice signal bar. I like going long there. And that's another one of those big moves up. I mean, it's obvious that trend line's in play now. And we're probably overdue to go back to the other side of the channel because we just came off the low side. So you expect prices to go back to the upside. And then you turn down right off that key entry point again. But there's no setup here because this is like a first entry, second entry, third entry. It's like a fourth entry. So you need a lower high or something up here, and you don't get it. And then it bounces here, just the first entry. Tries to go lower once, twice. The fact that we just came off the lows and we're pushing all the way up through the midline, that's not a good sign that we're probably going to go lower. We could, and if you did enter there, this was actually broke high or failed. You could maybe enter that on the engulfing bar with that much room back to the EMA. But I don't think I'd go short there into that EMA when it's pointing up. I think that's the trigger or your issue right there. Again, if you took it, you get a scalp out of that, but just wait, and next thing you know, now you've got a first entry, second entry that fails on a trend continuation here, and you got plenty of room back to this trend line in case it holds. So I like going long there, and guess what? It does turn down right off that trend line, but it doesn't go far. It just doesn't hold, and it confirms this trend line right here and runs on up, and then turns down. And the bottom just kind of falls up. So we get a break of this cyan colored channel, and then we get a break of this up channel here. And that takes us into 2 o'clock, but notice how we head to make a new high there before we kind of correct and go sideways a little bit. So there it is today. Nothing, I mean, you got a good trend up, a good trend down. Just stick to the rules. That's why there's just not a lot of trades in here. And be really careful trying to buy these or low, trying to pick a bottom on a trend like this or pick a top on a trend like this. There's a good chance you're going to get burned if you do. Wait till you get another confirmed pattern in the opposite direction, or sometimes a trend like this will be too steep, and it'll just fold over into a flatter channel that's more healthy. But that didn't happen today, and then sometimes one like this will do the same thing. It'll get a break and kind of a new low, and it'll like it's going to correct, and it just folds over into maybe a less steep channel or more sideways channel or something of that nature. So. But that only happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. Just usually when you have really strong trends, and the whole day ends up being a trend day. So, but this was an up down day, and not much other way you can describe it. So, but anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. That's going to wrap up our week. Today is Thursday, right? Yes, Thursday, March 20th. It's been a fast week for me because I've been so busy. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. No chart lesson tomorrow. I'm going to try to put up a couple of student trades tomorrow, live trade examples if I can find the time, because I want to be out of here by noon. And so I'll see what I can do. I'll try my best and try to get those up. I've got a couple of different ones sitting around that I've been holding on to for the last couple of days to try to put up for you. So we'll try to do that. And I'm trying to think of anything else. That's it. I guess we'll be back Monday. I'm done for today. Hope you have a great weekend. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.